credit finance and select modest individuals with some of their offers offering September 5th.
This is the Morning Sports Desk for Monday, August 28th. Corey, high school sports are into their first full week for the fall sports season, and it's kicking off with a cross-country meet in Staples today.
Yeah, we've had girls tennis going now for a week and a half, maybe less by this point. So some cross-country stuff has happened up to this point. There's been some girls swimming events that have been on the schedule up to this point, but this is the week now where we've even had a couple volleyball matches, but there's volleyball. I mean, it's kind of all happening at once. There's no longer that staggered start with everything. It's like you said, it's a full week where you look at the schedule any day of the week and you're going to see everything on it. I think on our area schedule today, it's cross country, it's boys and girls soccer, it's girls swimming, it's girls tennis, and one volleyball match. So, I mean, it's everything but football, but that's just because they don't play football on Mondays.
Right, exactly. And so we're kind of in that full fall sports feeling. Things are kind of coming together. Gopher football plays on Thursday. They host Nebraska to kick off the season. So do we got any trash talk for Nebraska, Corey?
Oh, yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah.
Don't like them. Don't like the way they look. Don't like the way they think. Don't like is better dead than red apply to Nebraska too? Do we have a slick phrase for Nebraska like we do other schools in the conference?
I mean, better dead than red typically implies Wisconsin, but I think for this week we can grant it a special juncture. The fun part of Nebraska fans is they keep living like it's 1985, so they keep acting like they're this like bubbling powerhouse that's ready to come out from underneath the surface. And they act like the way that they do football is better than everybody else. So, like, Nebraska fans were, like, one of the very first fan bases to be very critical of P.J. Fleck. And then P.J. Fleck has, like, beaten them almost every single year that he's been at Minnesota. So
correct.
He's like the reverse Iowa. P.J. Fleck can't beat Iowa, but he can sure beat Nebraska every single time.
Yeah, the Gophers have beaten Nebraska 4 straight times and 5 out of the past 6.
Yeah, that's
new coach there this year.
Matt Rule.
And a guy who did not have a good professional track record, really.
No, washed out with the Panthers. Really bad.
A really excellent college resume. But this is the first game in the first year. We like to tease PJ Fleck from time to time about the year 0 stuff. But if you want to take the cynicism out of it, you understand his perspective on this is a year 0 game for Matt Rule. I see no reason why the Gophers shouldn't win this one at home.
Exactly. It's at home. You start out the season. The big question for the Gophers this year is Callie McManus. I think
Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan Callie McManus. Wanted to say Nathan, and I knew that wasn't right. He's the new quarterback under center. Was for pretty much the second half of last season, but this is the first year where he's coming in and the offense is tailored to be Callie McManus's offense. Got some wide receivers in the transfer portal. Chris Ottman-Bell is back. New offensive coordinator, and without Muhammad Ibrahim on the roster, the assumption is that the Gophers are not necessarily going to air raid it, but they're going to throw it out and be a little more balanced this year, which is going to be the interesting part of it. Defensive coordinator Joe Rossi's units have always been above average to excellent over the course of his tenure as the Gophers defensive coordinator. They have the 3rd toughest schedule in all of college football this year.
Yeah, that's crazy and not exactly ideal.
No.
But I do think they're going to be fine. I mean, if you think about the run of last year's games for the Gophers, right? Callie McManus had to come in. Was it the Iowa game?
He came in like the Penn State game.
But there was this there was a game where it was just like they brought him in and he didn't throw the ball at all.
That was Iowa, yeah.
And it was this idea of like either he can or I remember our discussion was you have to throw the ball a little bit. What are you doing? Or maybe he can't, and this is a huge, huge problem. And then the following week or 2 weeks later, whenever it was,
against Wisconsin,
he was like perfect and threw for 300 yards and kind of throttled the Badgers. He can do it. And college football, probably the quarterback position probably isn't as important in college football as it is in the NFL.
No,
but if you have a quarterback who can do some stuff, it certainly goes a long ways towards making your team a little bit better. And maybe Cali McManus is that kid. He's the last. It's the last position in PJ Fleck's tenure that the Gophers haven't excelled at. He's had unbelievable offensive linemen, unbelievable receivers, D linemen, linebackers, safeties, running backs. He's had them everywhere. He hasn't had a dynamic quarterback yet.
Yeah, and that'll be the question. If Cali McManus can be that guy, there's nobody really waiting down the pipe or like somebody who immediately could challenge him. So I think it's pretty much his thing to have for the season, for better or worse. Speaking of football, going back to the high school thing, Corey, we also will have Wolverines Weekly this Saturday. So that's another thing to be looking out for the fall sports season.
Yeah, and since we're bringing it up and going back to it, I do want to mention that our entire fall broadcast schedule is officially up at WadenaRadio.com. On that schedule, you will see our Twins games for KWAD. You will see our Vikings games that play on the Superstation K106. You'll see our entire broadcast schedule. And I say entire because it's a lie. It's not the entire schedule. There are some things still pending that could be added. There might be some updated times, some updated days. I know when you think about the Vikings, there's some flex dates at the end of the schedule. Is it going to be a Saturday? Is it going to be a Sunday? When are those games going to be? And there could still be an addition or two, depending on how the rest of this Twins season works out. Because, of course, the Twins always take a priority on KWAD and on our broadcast schedule. But once the Twin season comes to a close, things really open up. And there could be more stuff coming. So check it out anyway, WadenaRadio.com. You'll see that local sports schedule. And you can see what our plan for the fall is.
And the interesting thing about the Minnesota Twins, Corey, is that it looks like, and we talked about this a lot last week, but they have not done anything to impede their progress to becoming American League Central champions.
Right.
They win 3 out of 4 games against the then first place Texas Rangers. The Twins beat them 3 out of 4 times. The Rangers have lost 8 out of their last 9 or 9 out of their last 10, something brutal like that. They've fallen out of first place, the Texas Rangers have, for the first time since April, but that's because the Twins handed them an extra innings loss yesterday. The Twins won 7-6 on a Michael A. Taylor walk-off walk. And a couple underrated notes, because the game was ugly, first of all.
It's like a cardinal sin. It's a baseball cardinal sin. A walk-off walk to lose?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, to be fair, the Twins gave the Rangers a win on Saturday night because Griffin Jax walked 2 guys with the bases full. So,
yeah,
a little payback.
Baseball karma evened itself out pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. People will talk about the extra inning rule. I've heard people complain about this yesterday during the game. Like, the extra inning rule sucks. It's again, and it does. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's like the shootout in hockey. It's like, guys, you had a whole game to figure this out. At a certain point, we got to wrap this up and go home. We can't, like, that Twins game, if they didn't put a runner on second base, they'd still be playing right now. Like, that's
right.
Like, those 2 offenses were not doing anything of note.
Well, I've told you my solution for extra innings in baseball, right? Have I told you my solution?
Ties, right?
Yeah, just who cares? We don't even need extra innings. Just if the game ends in a tie, the game ends in a tie. You deserve the tie. You've earned the tie. So if people don't like a game ending this way, and it is weird, I agree. Oh boy, ties would not go over well.
Yeah, and the thing is with the runner on second, people complain about it, and I get it. Like, I don't think aesthetically it just feels weird, but also every team gets the same opportunity. So people were complaining like, oh, the runner on second's going to mess with the Twins again, even though the Twins have the most wins in extra innings this year in Major League Baseball.
Right.
But every team gets the same opportunity. So if you're like the Rangers got a run to make it 6-5 in like the 11th inning, and Pagan came in and gave up 2 sacrifice flies. And so he didn't even, like, he recorded 2 outs. He didn't allow a base runner, but yet a run still scored, and people were complaining about it. And I'm like, well, to be fair, the Twins had 2 other opportunities with a runner on second, nobody out, and they couldn't get him home. So, like,
you couldn't hit 2 sac flies. That's on you.
Right, exactly. If you think it's ticky-tack, it's ticky-tack the other way. So, like, just make the most of the opportunity. Anyway,
how many extra inning games have the Twins played this year? Do you know that?
I saw the stats somewhere. Give me a second to look it up. But, yeah, I mean, they've played a decent amount, I think.
It feels like – but I bet it's not a dozen.
Let's see. The Twins have played 17 extra inning games this year.
Is that many?
The Twins are an American League best 11-6 in extra inning games. No other Major League Baseball team has double-digit extra inning wins.
So that one was the 17th. They're 11-6. Yeah, that's insane, and there's still over a month of baseball left, which means you could really. Is that about average? Do you know?
I don't know what the average
total games, extra inning games played.
I don't know what the average is.
I'm trying to justify my game should end in ties because if that's about average, then
I'm not sure. The stat I found didn't have that number. But you want to know something interesting about the Twins as well? They've had no double headers this year. They've had no games that have gotten rained out. And we're almost to September.
It's been a wild thing. How long has Target Field been around? Since Target Field's been
2010.
around, they've not had a ton of rain issues. It's surprising. It's been surprising.
It's not like Dodger Stadium hasn't had a game rained out in 50 years, but also, like, weirdly enough, there's not a ton of double.
But they just had, like, last week was nothing but rain. They probably did have games rained out unless they were on the road last week. It's been wild. The most double headers they have come in these, like, COVID seasons where they're just trying to slam games in, you know,
or the lockout season last year where they tried to slam games in. Corey, Vikings finish up the preseason. Twins, by the way, 6-game lead in the AL Central. Cleveland comes to town for 3. The Twins have a chance to really just bury the Guardians with a good series.
If you sweep Cleveland, it's over, right?
It's legit over. Now there's a
6-game lead. That would be a 9-game lead if you sweep them. It's done.
Even if the Twins lose the series 2-1, they still have a good shot because Cleveland has to play at like a 90-win pace for the rest of the year, and the Twins have to absolutely collapse, basically, for things to fall apart. Vikings preseason wraps up. They had a game on Saturday against the Cardinals, so now they're making roster cuts. They're making trades. They're kind of doing that whole song and dance. So we'll talk more about that later in the week as more stuff kind of trickles in. But, Corey, I want to end this Monday on a food challenge or a food would you rather.
Yeah.
Do you remember last summer we talked about the hot dog straw?
Yeah.
Somebody, like, basically takes their plastic straw, sticks it through a hot dog, creating thus a hole in the hot dog, and you put that hot dog in a cup of pop, and you drink the pop through the hot dog straw. Oscar Mayer is telling you to remove the straw entirely. Oscar Mayer is making hot dog straws a reality. They're actually making them.
It's happening?
It is happening.
Gross.
That's disgusting.
We tried them up here, remember?
Oh, yeah, you guys did. How was that?
It worked. It's so weird. It works just like a straw.
Did it impact the taste is the real question.
Not particularly. It's just weird sucking on a hot dog.
Yeah, it's a new feeling for you.
That part was strange, but they work beautifully. Get those paper straws out of here. Give me a hot dog straw. You know what I mean?
All right. So would you rather have another hot dog straw or buy a whole pack of hot dog straws knowing you have to eat them all? Or would you rather have a saltine ice cream sandwich? An ice cream sandwich, but it's sandwiched together through 2 saltine crackers.
It's ice cream.
Ice cream? Really?
I'd pick ice cream over a hot dog every time.
Even if you have to have it like with saltine crackers.
Yeah, but like you put a little salt sometimes on chocolate every once in a while.
Sure.
It would absolutely. The saltines would get buried in the ice cream. What you're really asking me is, do I want salt? Do I want ice cream or a hot dog? I want ice cream every time.
When you explain it like that, it makes it real simple.
Right. I gotta go.
This has been the Morning Sports Desk for Monday, August 28th. It's 7:30 on KWAD. We're back with more after this.
Hey, sports fans, it's Mike Grant. August is here and the gold rush is on. We want to